I still remember the exact moment my world stopped. Right there, in the middle of a crowded charity gala, with cameras flashing, people laughing, and champagne glasses clinking. A little girl, no older than 5, tugged gently on my sleeve and looked up at me with wide, innocent eyes. She pointed directly at my hand and said, "My dad has a ring exactly like yours." I froze, not because of the comment itself, but because of the way she said it. Certain, confident, like it wasn't a coincidence. And in that moment, a cold wave of realization crashed over me, because the ring she was pointing at wasn't just any ring. It was one of a kind. There was only one other person in the world who should have had a matching one, and that man had been dead for 6 years. So tell me, what would you have done in my place? Would you have laughed it off, ignored it? Or would you have followed that child into a truth you weren't ready to face? My name is Adrian Voss. I'm the CEO of one of the largest tech companies in the country, a self-made billionaire, and, until that night, I believed I had control over every aspect of my life. I built my empire from nothing. No family wealth, no shortcuts. Just long nights, calculated risks, and a relentless refusal to fail. But there was one part of my life I never talked about. One chapter I buried so deep that even I pretended it didn't exist anymore. Her name was Alara. We met years before I became Adrian Voss, the billionaire. Back when I was just a broke dreamer with a second-hand laptop and an apartment that barely had heat. Alara was different. She didn't care about money or status. She cared about people, about moments, about love. She used to laugh at my obsession with success, saying things like, "One day you'll have everything," and realize it wasn't what you actually needed. I always brushed it off. I thought she was naive. But the truth? She was the only person who ever truly saw me. We were together for 3 years, and during that time, I bought 2 rings. Not engagement rings. Nothing traditional like that. They were custom-made, minimalist bands with an engraving on the inside. For the life we choose. One for me, one for her. It was our quiet promise to each other. No matter what happened, we'd choose our life together. But life doesn't always go the way you plan. The day my company got its first major breakthrough, I was offered a deal that would change everything. Investors, expansion, global reach. It was everything I had worked for. But it came with a condition: relocation, total commitment, no distractions. And Alara, she didn't fit into that future. Not the way I was building it. We fought. God, we fought harder than we ever had. She said I was choosing money over love. I said she didn't understand what it took to succeed. In the end, I walked away. I told myself it was temporary. That once I made it, I'd come back for her. Fix everything. But a week later, I got the call. A car accident. She didn't make it. That was 6 years ago. I never took off the ring, so when that little girl at the gala pointed at my hand and said her father had the same one, something inside me broke. I knelt down slowly, my voice tighter than I expected. "That's interesting," I said. "Where is your dad?" She smiled and pointed across the room. And that's when I saw him. Standing near the edge of the crowd was a man I didn't recognize. Tall, composed, dressed in a simple black suit. But what caught my attention wasn't his face, it was his hand. Because there, on his finger, was the ring. My ring, or rather, its twin. I felt my chest tighten as I walked toward him, each step heavier than the last. My mind was racing, trying to come up with explanations. Coincidence. Replica. Stolen design. Anything that made sense. But deep down, I already knew this wasn't random. When I reached him, he turned to face me like he had been expecting it. His eyes were calm. Too calm. "Nice event," he said casually. I didn't waste time. "Where did you get that ring?" He glanced at his hand, then back at me. "This?" he asked. It was a gift. From who? He hesitated just long enough to make my heart pound louder. From someone who told me it belonged to a man who chose the wrong life. Those words hit harder than anything I'd ever heard. Because I knew exactly who would say something like that. "Alara," I whispered. He nodded. I felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. "That's not possible," I said. "She's dead?" He finished quietly. "Yeah, I know." We stood there in silence, the noise of the gala fading into the background. My mind couldn't process it. If Alara gave him the ring, that meant she didn't die immediately. That meant there was time. Time I didn't know about. "Who are you?" I asked. "My name is Daniel," he said. "And I think we need to talk." We stepped outside, away from the crowd, into the cold night air. And that's where everything unraveled. Daniel told me he met Alara months after I left. She was broken, hurt, but she was trying to move on. They became friends first. Then something more. He didn't know about me at the beginning. She never talked about her past in detail. But over time, she opened up. She loved you, he said. More than I've ever seen anyone love another person. But she also accepted that you made your choice. I felt a sharp pain in my chest hearing that. Then why give you the ring? I asked. He looked down at it. Because she said it was time to let go of the life she once chose. That sentence felt like a knife twisting inside me. And the girl? I asked, my voice barely steady. The one who talked to me, is she your daughter? Daniel looked at me for a long moment before answering. She's Alara's daughter. My heart stopped. And yours? Everything went silent. No, I said immediately. That's not possible. Alara found out she was pregnant after you left, he said. She tried to contact you, multiple times. But your number had changed. Your company blocked unknown contacts. She didn't know how to reach you. I staggered back, my mind spinning. You're lying, I said, but even as I said it, I knew it wasn't true. I'm not, he replied. I stepped in because she needed support. I was there when your daughter was born. I was there when... He paused. When Alara passed. The weight of his words crushed me. So that's the situation I was in. Standing there, realizing I had a daughter I never knew existed. A life I abandoned without even knowing it. And another man had stepped in and become the father she needed. So before I tell you what I did next, I want you to think about it. What would you have done in my place? Would you try to claim your role, fight for your place in her life? Or would you step back, knowing someone else had already filled that space? I stood there for what felt like hours, but it was probably only minutes. My entire identity, everything I believed about my life, was unraveling. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I finally asked. Daniel sighed. Because she didn't want me to. Alara made me promise that if you ever found out, it would be your choice what to do next. Not hers, not mine. And what do you want? I asked. He looked at me, his expression steady. I want what's best for her. That's when the little girl came running out, her laughter cutting through the tension. She grabbed Daniel's hand and looked up at me again. Are you coming back inside? She asked. I looked at her, really looked this time. Her eyes, her smile, there was no doubt. She was mine. In that moment, everything I had built, my company, my wealth, my success, it all felt insignificant. I knelt down in front of her, my voice soft. What's your name? Lena, she said proudly. Hi, Lena, I replied, my throat tightening. I'm Adrian, she smiled. You look like someone I saw in Mommy's pictures. That was it. That was the moment I broke. I didn't fight Daniel. I didn't demand anything. Because the truth was, he had been there when I wasn't. He had earned his place in her life. But I also couldn't walk away, so I asked for something simple. Can I get to know her? I said. Slowly, no pressure. Just be part of her life. Daniel studied me for a long moment. Then he nodded. As long as it's about her, not you. It is, I said. And for the first time in years, I meant something more than business. The months that followed were the hardest and most meaningful of my life. I had to learn how to be something I had never been before. A father, not a CEO, not a strategist, just a man trying to make up for lost time. Lena didn't care about my money. She didn't care about my status. She cared about bedtime stories, silly jokes, and whether I could draw a decent cartoon cat. And slowly, piece by piece, I built a relationship with her. Daniel stayed in the picture. We weren't rivals. We were something else. Two men connected by the same woman, trying to honor her in the best way we could. Eventually, Lena learned the truth. That she had two fathers in different ways. And she accepted it with a simplicity only a child could have. I'm lucky, she said one day. I get double love. And she was right. Looking back now, I realized something Alara tried to teach me years ago. Success isn't about what you build. It's about who you build it with. I lost her because I chose ambition over love, but somehow, life gave me a second chance. Not to fix the past, but to do better in the present. So if you're watching this, and you're at a crossroads in your life, don't make the same mistake I did. Because some things, you can never get back. If you think I did the right thing, like this video. If you believe I should have fought harder, Tell me in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, real, messy, emotional, make sure you subscribe. Because sometimes, the life you didn't choose ends up choosing you. I'll see you all in the next story.